Now, Nicky Henderson has kindly come over for a chat right at the end of racing today at Sandown, and it's been a difficult day, I think, for lots of different reasons. Should we start by talking about Altior? I think everybody on Racing TV will have read your explanation that you put on Twitter, read what was on the Racing Post. I suppose what some people are wondering is, you knew you've got a healthy, fit horse. It was a Grade 1 race. You knew it wasn't going to be a guinea. The ground is soft. It's not.
It's heavy.
It's soft on times, according to
It's heavy.
Okay, we differ there. And this is a Grade 1.
Yeah.
And it's 3 months until the champion
And I'm
chase.
looking after the horse. That's my job.
I know it is. But I suppose people are wondering, given those things, why we can't see him 3 months before the champion chase. If you're saying
Because I'm going to take a different route. He's going to go to Kempton for the Desert Orchid. And so people will be able to see him at Kempton, which they wouldn't be able to see if they'd seen him here today. He hates this ground. He takes a lot out of him, whatever he does. You saw what happened at Ascot last year. I said then I should never have run him.
You did.
Because I'll get lynched. I've done that, and you have tried to kill me. Luckily, there are some sensible people out here who totally and utterly agree with what I've done. Okay? Now, the horse comes before anything else. And his well-being, his welfare, is the only thing I care about. I love racing. I've been in it quite a long time. And I do it because I love it. And I've all the admiration for all the people that get involved in it. I know they want to see Altior. I want to see him. I wanted to run him. Pat and Christopher Pugh wanted to run him. We chatted and went through it all last night. And Nico and I left here under no illusions that we knew we didn't want to run. And I can tell you what, the JP, who's the most realistic person when it comes down to horses and looking after them. And I very often have to ring him halfway through the day if I'm not happy about the ground. If I ask him, JP, I'm not happy about the ground, might be too soft, might be too firm. He'll say, Nicky, if you ask the question, you know the answer. Okay? So we leave it at that.
We understand, obviously, that you're doing the best of the horse. No one is ever doubting that. And no one is doubting that at any time, ever. But I suppose the problem is for jump racing. Do you think we've got to the point where there is a lack of competition from October until March? Do you
But
think,
if I have no horse in March, what's the point?
I'm talking about. I'm not asking about Altior specifically. I'm broadening it out from today to a wider discussion about the jump season.
The jump season has been interrupted. Last season's jump season was interrupted. We've done very, very well. The BHA Racing have done very well to get it going. We're all trying to get these horses out there. This weather what happened? I fail to understand how you can't conceivably understand. Our job is to look after these horses. I need to get them to the races we are targeting, if you like. The important races, yes, Cheltenham is probably the be-all. It's not the be-all and the end-all. There are a lot of others. This is a Grade 1. I want to run in it. But if it's not right for the horse, I can't do it.
I suppose.
And you just got to listen to me. That is the only thing that matters. And if it's not right for him, you saw how he finished at Ascot last year when Nico had to lead him into the unsaddling enclosure because he was too tired to ride him in. The horse was too tired. Do you want to see that all over again?
Is it that's
welfare. And the welfare of the horse is the only thing that matters.
Look.
You must understand
welfare,
that.
It's very difficult for horse racing if we are talking about running a horse on what the times say are soft ground yesterday on chases as being a welfare issue.
Well, that's
very bad news for jump racing if we're talking about running on soft ground being a welfare issue.
It is not soft ground, that is heavy,
all right, heavy
very
ground.
holding,
running on heavy ground
very
being a
sticky
welfare
ground.
issue.
He doesn't like it, and I wasn't prepared to risk him on it. And my owners completely support me, and so luckily do 50% of the people that I've spoken to today. Unfortunately, you don't, which is a shame.
I'm not. I'm just asking questions, Nicky. I'm just asking
well,
questions
I've answered them.
and giving you the platform
I've
to answer
answered them.
And finally, what is it about the champion chase that makes that Grade 1 much more important?
Because this is an older horse now. You've got to remember that. And I don't want to, I need to get it. I'm going to go back to where he was after Ascot last year. It took me I just got him back in time for the Game Spirit at Newbury. That was 2.5 months it took me to get him back. He puts an awful lot into it. He'd run in that, win or lose, he would be it had taken me 2 months to get him right again. And that's not the way to prepare these horses. It's not. He won't get there. If people want to see him, then you leave it to me to look after it, and I will get him to the races as regularly as I can.
And do you feel you have to be more careful with him now that he's the age that he is?
Well, you know I'm careful with all the horses, and that's all that matters.
I wasn't trying to suggest that you were less careful with the horse. I'm just saying with him, at the age he is now,
I think you ought to leave it to us
earlier.
to know our horses. I know the ground very, very well indeed. Nico knows the ground very, very well indeed. That was not what Altior likes going on. He would not like it. It was heavy, sticky. The hurdle course is very, very soft. And the chase course, there's a nice bit down the back, but that's all. He does not go in it. He'll probably win in it, but he doesn't go in it. It's what the damage will do to him. And I'm not prepared to do that. I will even try and run him this week. I'm going to try and persuade them. Now, the Peterborough Chase has been abandoned tomorrow at Huntingdon. 2 or 3 years ago, it was moved to Taunton. If they'd like to move the Peterborough Chase to Taunton, where the ground is good, I'd run him. Well, I'd certainly think about it, but I have got others in there. I must
2.5 miles again?
2 miles, 3.5 to be exact, round Taunton. Well, that was going to be an awful lot easier than going round here, isn't it?
But I suppose we want competition, don't we? In our races en route to Cheltenham, we want Grade 1s to be, hotly contested.
Well, that's what we want to win. Yeah. I think you've seen what we do with most of our horses. I mean, you hope you enjoyed seeing Epitante last weekend.
I did, very much so.
That's what we do.
Let's talk about Santini, shall we? Were you encouraged by the run back in the many clouds?
I was. I think we'd said all along that we didn't think that Aintree was likely to be his track. I think everybody agreed with that. He's a galloping horse. He's quite lazy. I think he was unfortunate. Both times when they turned down the back straight were the only 2 times he really pricked his ears and jumped. Unfortunately, there were no fences to sort of carry him home. But he ran it for his first run of the season. That was great. I was delighted with him.
Cotswold Chase is the next?
That'll be we've just got to plan a route for him and Champ. But the Cotswold Chase will certainly be... he won it last year. It's a long way away. This is the difficulty. Where else do you go? I mean, his alternatives this season. And you say you run these horses, but where can you run him? Haydock would not suit him. Aintree would not suit him. Kempton will not suit him.
I agree.
Now find me a race to run him in.
Well, you found one. He's run well and
I
encouragingly
ran him
in
it,
the
but I
Many
knew
Clouds.
it was the wrong place. It's not his track. But you have to do it. We got him out.
You can't have the absolutely ideal circumstances for a horse every time it runs, can you?
But you're trying to. We're trying to win races. I'm not trying to get him ready for anything. I'm trying to win races with them.
And where might we see Champ?
I think it's very possible you go to Ireland.
For what was the Lexus, the Savills
Correct,
Chase?
yes. Yeah.
Okay, that's really
All
good.
being well, but it's very possible. We've got work to do, but he worked yesterday, so did Bouvardin. He's on his way back, I hope.
Okay. Oh, Bouvardin, have you got to a point where you can start to earmark a race yet at all or not?
Not really, because again, it's very difficult. Epitante will pretty obviously go to the Christmas hurdle. Wouldn't Bouvardin be quite ready for that? But then where do you go? You've got a huge, great gap again. You'd probably come back into that Contenders hurdle here that we've used so many times before on the route. And even if he had one run before the Champion hurdle, that would do. The main thing is he's back in action. We've hopefully touched wood. His injury is sort of recovered. He did gallop yesterday and all's okay. And same with Champ, who we did have to unfortunately stop with. He's behind because we have had a wind operation during this autumn.
Right.
And he's in good form, so we're fighting the clock a little bit.
Okay. Nicky, thank you very much for that informative interview. Thank you also for sparing the time and coming over and talking at the end of racing. I appreciate it.